Hi and welcome back. Today we have part 2 of our French country makeover, and this is going to be a Faux Bois table. So this table was picked up from a recycle store. It was $20 and it's solid wood, but it's in this ugly honey oak, which might be nice in other places but not for what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a paint finish that looks like it's raw wood. So it's a couple of different steps. First thing is to give everything a very light sand. So I took the base apart from the top. It just screwed off. I put it on my other table because it's easier to do this way, it doesn't break your back. And just gave everything a really light sand just to give the paint something to adhere to. The paint that I have used is Sherwin-Williams. It's the same paint that I've used for other projects. It's a flat colour, and that's the one I'm starting with, so I'm going to give everything a quick coat of that. So I've just taken a regular dollar store sanding block. You don't need anything too heavy duty. You're literally going to give it just something for the paint to adhere to. So I gave it all a really good sand over with this little block, and again just to scratch the surface. And I did this with the base and the top. So step 2, once it's all been sanded, you're just going to take a very light coat and build up the colour. So I think I gave it 3 coats of this off-white. It's a white, and it says it's pure white, but it's slightly, I think it's got like a touch of cream to it when I compare it to other whites. And like I said, this is a Sherwin-Williams paint. I normally use Benjamin Moore, so whether it's just the different brands, but it is a slight off-white. It's not a pure white. So I give everything at least 2 coats of this, and you just want to get good coverage. So as you can see with the tabletop, it's covered it all twice, and it's still given a streaky look to it, which is fine because we're going to be adding 2 more coats of paint. Well, we're going to touch it up with 2 coats of paint. So for the base, we're going to make sure we've got a really nice cover. So this is with 2 coats. I'm going to go ahead and give it 1 more coat, and we're going to keep this just the one shade of white, and this is because it's the base of the table. You don't really see it. You can do the same paint effect on it, but it's going to be very difficult because of the shape of it. So here we have it with 2 coats of paint. 3 coats of paint. Once that's done, that's finished and ready to go. So now we're going to move to the tabletop. So as you can see, for the base, it's very opaque. You can't see any of the original table through it. It's one solid, good cover. So with the final coat of the original base colour, the Sherwin-Williams, what I did was I give it a very wet brush, covered the table, and then went over it with a damp cloth just to move the paint around in different directions so you don't have too many going in the one direction. This is almost like a wash that just goes over the top of it. Once that's done and it's dried, we're going to move on to the next colour, which is the silver, which is what I used to antique the other items that I did in the other video. This is going on with a dry brush, and it's just going to be dabbed on here and there. You want it darker in some places, lighter in other, and you want to get it all over the table. If you get it too dark in some places, you can go over again with the original creamy white paint. In fact, we're going to do that anyway, and we're going to just have shades of the silver showing through. So as you can see, I'm just adding yet another layer of the white paint, and it's just softening the silver so that it's not quite as pronounced, and it's more of a blended look. So you can see I've gone back over it and I've almost taken away the grey. Now this looks counterproductive, but the next step is going to remove the paint again, and you're going to see some of that grey coming through when you do the faux bark. So the next one, once the paint's dry, you're going to use a semi-gloss or a high gloss. I've got Benjamin Moore Cloud White in semi-gloss. I also have, this is a very old wood graining tool. I've had this for many years, and this is from, I believe, 1905. This is something that you can purchase from Michael's or any good crafting store. It's now, you can buy them in a rocker. I know Martha Stewart used to do one, but it's a case where you drag this over the paint that you lay on the table. You're almost pulling it off, and as you're doing it, you're dragging it, and it's creating a wood effect. I just thought I'll show you this quick box. This is was purchased originally in the Eaton store, which was a major department store in Toronto, but it was made in the US and it was patented in 1905. I'm not exactly sure how old this is, but I know it's very old. This is a very similar graining tool from Amazon. So you take a little bit of the new white Benjamin Moore paint, the semi-gloss, and you put it in a roller and you roll it on top of the work that you've just done. So you're taking a line or two at a time. It's up to you how quickly you do this. And then you're taking the tool and you are literally rocking it back and forth and dragging it across the tabletop. And what this is doing is pulling some of the paint off, and it's revealing what's underneath. So this is giving you your tree bark look, as if the wood has been polished down. Paint start on the table, you're taking the tool and you're rolling it back and forth, almost rocking it as you go. You can go back over areas if you feel like you need to pull more paint off, but try not to do that too much. And you can see it's giving the appearance of wood grain. So you're going to do this all the way across the table. You can, like I said, you can paint all the table at once if you can do this quick enough. You just don't want the paint to dry, otherwise it's just not going to work. So the finished Faux Bois, as it's a French technique, which means fake wood, and this is what you get left with. Because the paint underneath is flat, and then the finish on top is semi-gloss, you can see the difference between the 2 layers, and that's what gives it the depth. And you can see that it does actually look like open wood grain. So I just do it on the top of the table. As I said, it would be too difficult to do on the legs, but I don't actually have to finish this. I will probably give it a wax just to seal it, because it will be used as the kitchen table. I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration, and it's taken a really narky old table and turned it into something really quite pretty. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. There's lots more to come, and I'll see you next time.